Hello, this video will help with Module 4 and all of the activities contained within this module. So I have open right now Module 4, and this will be embedded in the materials and also in Activity 1. So the main topic here, the need to know, we have how to create a scatter plot, how to add in the trend line in R squared value, and take a look at that R squared value to determine if there's a strong correlation between two different variables. So I have a really easy example that we're going to walk through. And once you see this once and do it once, it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy to take a look at a bunch of variables to determine the correlations. So the one I'm going to take a look at, I believe we get to, I made a sheet. If you choose to do the activity, we have it down here with activity 2. If you choose to create a survey as a class, take some measurements, age, shoe size, height, resting heart rate, arm span, forearm length, to see if any of those are correlated. I just did a quick spreadsheet. Say you have 10 students in your class, and we're going to compare height versus shoe size. So I already have the data entered here to save some time for us in Google Sheets. So we just have, whenever you're doing the correlations, one column with the first variable, the second column with the second variable. And one important thing to do, especially if you're taking data from different spreadsheets, you need to make sure they're right next to each other. So I have them in column B and column C. I know sometimes students will have a space, maybe data in B and data in D with C open, and that throws off the graphs a lot of the time. So make sure the two variables that you are comparing are right next to each other. That makes it a little bit easier for the students. So we have our data here. Height in inches and shoe size. I'm just going to highlight, actually we can take all of the information here. We're going to go to Insert, Chart, and it probably will default to a scatter plot. If it doesn't, you can always go over here in the setup and select the scatter plot with that drop down button, but typically it will default to our scatter plot. So that's step one. All we need to do now is add in the trend line and the R squared. I just want to show you one thing too. Sometimes that side pane will go away. If you need it back, just double click on your graph in this chart editor, side pane will come back. So these two attributes are under Customize. If you click on Customize, and we're going to go down to Series. Okay, and it's real simple. It's just 2 clicks. We're going to add in our trend line first. You need to do that step first. So click on trend line so you can see our trend line has added in. You can change the color, the type of trend line. We're going to go with linear, which it defaults to. And we're going to go, sometimes too, I like to add the data labels in, not as much with the scatter plot, but sometimes when you're in Google Sheets, a lot of the times it defaults without data labels in a bar chart. So this is also where you would find clicking there to add the data labels in. Again, for a scatter plot, not as important as a bar chart. And just go down a little bit and you'll see show R squared. So that's just another click too. And it'll appear right on your graph, which you see here, R squared value is 0.94. So the closer you are to 1, the stronger the correlation. So this one is has a pretty strong correlation, as if the taller you are, the more likely you are to have a larger shoe size, is what this tells us. And usually in our class, we take a look at anything. It needs to be at least like in the 0.7 or greater range to be getting towards a correlation between the two variables. But it's the closer you get to 1, the stronger these two variables are correlated. So again, it was just the scatter plot, going to Customize, clicking on trend line, clicking on, whoops, and that went away. And then clicking on R squared, and then that appears right on your chart here for you at 0.94. Just a little formatting. Sometimes I like to just put that on a different line. You can even edit your title here. If you want to change your title, you just click on that box too. So that's the 3 need to know things: creating the scatter plot, adding the trend line, R squared, and trying to get as close as we can to 1 to show a correlation. And it's okay too. Maybe you think 2 things are correlated. You run it and it's 0.4. So that's an answer too. Those aren't 2 variables are not correlated.